Welcome all. In this lecture, we are going to explore one of the most powerful concepts in Python, that is functions. So the lecture is appropriately named as From Definition to Execution, Python Functions. So by the end of this session, you'll be able to define, call, and use functions to write clean, reusable, and efficient Python code, a crucial skill for any programmer. So now we'll explore how to define and call functions to make your code modular, reusable, and clean. Now, functions help break down complex code into manageable parts. They allow you to reuse logic and write more organized and maintainable programs. So, my learners and students that have come from the C# background will already have worked extensively with methods in C#. Methods and calling those methods. So, functions are identical. Only the jargon technical name is different, and functions are prevalent in all of the languages as far as I'm aware. Like JavaScript also uses function, and any other programming languages, higher level languages, they use functions. Alright, so what's next? Now, how do we define a function in Python? Here is how you define a function in Python using the def keyword. So we'll break it down into each part. The name, the function name, def is the keyword that is actually appended in front of the function name, and it has got the parameters which is optional. Okay, and this is a doc string, and I will tell you soon what is this. And this is functional logic after the doc string and a return value. Now we'll explain doc string in the next slide. So let's go to the next slide. What's the doc string? All right, now a doc string is a string literal, and usually it is triple quoted, like triple quoted before the doc string literal and after the string literal, and it appears right after the def line in a function, and it is used to describe what the function does. It's just like comment, another form of saying that it is defining what the function does. So def greet name greets the user by the name, and printf hello name. Now in this case, it these triple quotes before and after the doc string is the doc string. Okay, in between everything is the doc string. Now let's see def greet, print hello welcome, and we'll now move on to the Visual Studio Code. I'll flip over to the Visual Studio Code and run all the code one by one. So this is the Visual Studio Code. Now the first one is greet.py. So def greet is a def means again it is defining a function known as greet, and it's followed by a colon and a print statement, and is called to this function is calling greet. So we'll run this function. So what is the command? Python, again like the file name. So greet with param.py, that is another code snippet that will come next. So I'll just modify it to greet. Greet.py. Alright. So it returns hello welcome. That's what you expect, right? Next, we come to the topic of parameters versus arguments. What is a parameter? What is an argument? So when you define a function like such, this is whatever you are passing, this is a parameter. Now this is a function, but when it is called, this parameter assumes an argument, the name of an argument. So it's the same thing. The name is here per parameter, and when you call this function like greet user and pass Alice as the argument, okay, so the parameter turns into argument. All right, so we'll run that application also. So I have created this file greet with param.py. So here what I have just discussed on the slideshow, we have got this function def greet user passing name as a parameter. Here name is the parameter, but when I'm calling this function greet user, then the parameter takes the shape of an argument. So Python greet with param.py. So hello Alice. If you pass the name Bob or any other name, John, Smith, it will print out hello John, hello Smith, etc. etc. Alright. So let's get back to our slideshow. So what comes next? Multiple and keyword arguments. Now next we have a function, say describe pet, with pet name and animal type. And how we call it? One of the ways to call it is describe pet. I'm calling this function, and animal type equals within quotes dog, comma pet name equals buddy. Alright, we'll also run this and explain. So I have got this function describe pet. It takes in two parameters, pet name and animal type, and prints I have an animal type within curly braces, pair of curly braces with f string, which we are now familiar with, and then the next line it prints my animal type's name is pet name.title, or even if you get rid of title it will still work. Okay, and then call this describe pet, animal type is dog, and pet name equals buddy. So what do you expect as a C# programmers? I would expect this to print first. I have an animal type. Now animal type is dog, so I have a dog, it should print, and my animal type, that is dogs, my dog's name is pet name, that is buddy. Right, my dog's name is buddy in the second line. So let's run this to see it ourselves. Clear. Now Python, this is described. Okay, so I have a dog, my dog's name is buddy. That's what we expect, right? So what's next? This is taking care of this slide. Now the next slide is return value. This is the most important because I've created a few examples to show what is the return value, how the return values are used. Now def multiply AB, as you can expect, it returns the multiplication of two numbers, two parameters A and B, two numbers, and stores or reuses the result. So store the result in a variable. Now from multiply, okay, this is what we are going to run on Visual Studio Code. From multiply, import multiply. Multiply is the file name, and this is the function name, and the result equals multiply, and passing these two arguments 5 and 3, and then result of this multiplication is the result. So let's run it. Now here is that function. This one is in another file, resulting variable.py. So from multiply, import multiply. So if you look into this, this is the file name, and then you are importing this function name from this file, import function, and result is calling this multiply function and passing 5 and 3 as arguments. So let's run it again. So Python result in variable.py. So the result of multiplication is 15. That's fine. Okay, so this is one of the ways, first way of using the result. The next way is you can save the value returned by function into a variable. That is what we have just seen, and use it later. So yeah, it's all done. And reuse the result within another expression. You can also use the result directly within another expression or pass it to another function. So we'll see that if multiply and you pass these two parameters arguments 5 greater than 0, print the result is greater than 20. Okay, so we have got this file. I'll run this code snippet, clear the stuff, and this one is use result. So Python reuse result within another expression. Okay, so the result is greater than 20. Of course, 5 into 5 is greater than 20. Right? It's pretty straightforward. And then I'll just close some of these files. It's all cluttered all over the place. Alright, I'll close this also. Now, what is the next slide? Now, we'll use the result passing the return value as an argument. So you can take the output of one function and use it in input to the another function. So we have got this again multiply function, and we've got created another square root function which takes a parameter or argument x and returns the x to the power 0.5. That is, this is to the power double asterisk x to the power 0.5, that is square rooting x, and pass the result of multiply to square root. So in the result variable, I am calling the square root function and passing as an argument the result of the multiplication. Okay, so let's see this in action as well. It is this code snippet which I just discussed. So I'll just run this. Python use output as input. Okay, output of one function as input to the other. So result of passing the multiply output to square root input is 6. How it is 6? Because 4 into 9 is 36. That means the square root of 36 is 6. Then we have that reuse the result. Another way of reusing the result, nesting function calls. Okay, so we have got a addition function which returns the sum of two numbers, and then another function double n, which is actually it returns n multiplied by 2. If n is 5, 5 multiplied by 2 10. Okay, so nesting pass the result of add to double. So print double, and in the double function I am calling the add function and passing 10 and 5. So 10 plus 5 is 15 multiplied by 2, output should be 30. So I will run this also. This is this nesting function .py. So Python nesting function .py, and 10, because I am adding two numbers 2 and 3. 2 plus 3 5 multiplied by 2, because I am passing it to double function, which actually multiplies it by 2 and returns the output. So this is 10. All right. Now why this is useful? It reduces the need for temporary variables and makes the code more concise and helps when chaining transformations. Why this is useful? Why this using the return value in these few steps are useful? Because it reduces the need for temporary variables. You don't need to store it in temporary variables before using it these ways. Okay, and like in data processing pipeline, it helps. Okay, and then we have got a circle area challenge. Circle area challenge. Now we have got a small challenge in how to calculate the area of a circle through Python. So here it is a function. I've named it as calculate underscore circle underscore area, and I'm passing the radius. Now it should ideally return pi into radius square, but pi is not recognized by our Python, so I have to give it a value. Say 2 places of decimal. 3.14 is the easiest value to remember. However, this pi has got you can go to as many places of decimal as you'd like, but 3.414 is a good value to approximate. And for example, radius equals 5. So how do you calculate this? So circle area.py, return 3.14 times radius to the power 2. 3.14 is pi times radius to the power 2, pi r square. Okay, and area is calling this calculate circle area and passing the value 5. And let's see what is the area of the circle. Calculate it this way. Clear the stuff and call Python circle area.py. So area of a circle with radius 5 is 78.5. Alright, so this is approximate value of it, area of a circle. Now the last thing is a sort of bonus challenge, you can say. This is about the body mass index, BMI calculator. And what is the formula? Now this is the calculate BMI. It takes into parameters weight and height, and it returns weight divided by height square of the height. Okay, and then round it to 2 decimals. So let's run this also. Now this is bonus calculate BMI.py. Now example usage is, if you give a weight of say 75 kilograms and height of 1.76 meters, actually it's kilogram and meters, MK system. So just remember to put the height in meters. So this is actual formula, which is accepted worldwide for calculating the BMI of a person weighing this much kg and this much tall. Height underscore m, tall is this BMI. 2 places of decimal. So let's run this and see the fun. This one is known as calculate BMI.pi. And the BMI for a person weighing 75 kg and 1.76 meters tall is 24.21. So great, we have come to the end of the slideshow of today's lesson, and let us see a quick recap. So we have learned how to define and call functions, use parameters and return values, and apply them in real world example. All right, so that's the end of today's lecture. Thank you for attending it.